and accept the change for which we all are geared to. With this in mind, we are planning to hold one more webinar during the middle of the next week by a very leading software company in India who are interested in supporting the profession of chartered accountancy firms, mid-sized firms, with their product and also with their technology. We will keep you posted after the confirmation from the company and also the convenience of the ICAI Coimbatore branch. I once again welcome all of you to this webinar. As always, I request all of you to give you your suggestions in conducting the activities of TASI. I welcome all of you again for this webinar. I request the program chairman and moderator, Kamesh, to take over the proceedings from me. Over to Kamesh.
Thank you, President. The office bearers of TASI, office bearers of Coimbatore branch of ICAI, senior members, Speaker C. Arihant, a very good afternoon to one and all present here. As regards work from home, maybe about a year back, it was considered as a term very much relevant only to the software industry. Now, I think work from home has become a terminology used by all business professionals, including chartered accountants. Maybe Feb 2020, work from home, a seminar like this would not have crossed our minds at all. I think now it has become a more relevant topic to be discussed, especially among the CA professionals. As work from home, we had along with my panelists, CA Mahesh Prabhu and CA Siddharth Ashok, and in discussion with the President, we formulated how it can move forward for this webinar on work from home. So we decided to structure it in such a manner that work from home, there are both technical queries and as well as non-technical queries. Technical as we regarding the tools, audit tools, softwares. Apart from that, the non-technical queries, monitoring the staffs and other queries were also there. So we were receiving feedback from the members also, both on the technical and non-technical grounds. So we have structured the webinar in such a manner that after the speaker, C. Arihant, makes his presentation, C. Mahesh Prabhu has consolidated in discussion with members queries on the non-technical aspects, especially on maybe, as we say, non-technical, other than the software and other things, the non-technical issues which every chartered accountant faces because it is new to every chartered accountant or any new professional in this regard. And the non-technical aspects, CA Siddharth has formulated a small PowerPoint also, and also on the technical aspects, the queries. Also, we thought we'll place it before the speaker for his valuable feedback. At the same time, after CA Mahesh Prabhu consolidates and puts its questions, and after the speaker addresses, the forum is also open for the members present here who can post their questions in the chat, which also can be addressed to the speaker. And based on the valuable feedback, definitely I think this webinar on work from home will be a value addition to all the members present here. This is how the webinar has been structured as of now. Once again, I thank the President for giving me this opportunity to mentor or monitor this webinar. Now over to the President for the next in the agenda before we take on the regular subject. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
May I now request Prabhu, Chairman of the Coimbatore branch, to share his thoughts on the COVID project done jointly with TASI.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi Shankar sir, and thank you, Kamesh sir. Am I audible, sir, to all?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, members. I deem it an honor to welcome you all for this webinar on the work from home. Is it a challenge or opportunity? Today, I'm not here only to welcome you all, but also given the gratifying task of explaining to you all and thanking you all about the project that we undertook along with TASI, providing the COVID relief activities to service to Coimbatore GH and also the ESA Hospital of Coimbatore. See, this COVID second wave has brought in a really devastating effect in all our life, either by way of mental health or physical health or losing a loved ones or friends. A lot of us have lost many friends in this COVID second wave. And it has also brought in a lot of financial and occupational loss also. There is not even one single person who is not affected by this COVID wave. And even now we are actually helpless and clueless at how to solve this. Despite this, even every single person of Coimbatore or the whole country has been helping the fellow citizen, common fellow citizen, in one way or other. Ordinary citizens, the least that they do is at least stay at home and see to that they're not getting affected and also not contaminating further the society. This is what a normal ordinary citizen is doing. So if a normal ordinary citizen can do this, why not the professionals of such a worth like us can do, or we can do a lot of things. And yes, that is what we have done in the last month along with the TASI. I'm given a brief to explain about what the Coimbatore branch along with TASI has done in the last month in a record time. That is what I like to add. See, we did not take much of time and take months or weeks to gather the funds and mobilize the relief material. We just had 5 days or 7 days time at the most to collect the funds and also to do the relief work. So initially what we did was we had a team of 5 to 6 chartered accountants along with the past chairman, N. Shanmugadivel sir, Gopinath, Saranan sir, Sarvajit, Ramya Kamesh. We formed a core team of COVID task force in Coimbatore branch, which were actually, we are actually only doing helping members in finding beds for the treatment of COVID and also for finding the vaccination centers and such other help. Even in fact, Sarvajit along with Kalyan also was doing a lot of services were being done. So this is what we're actually doing. Subsequently, we came to know from the Dean of the ESA Hospital of Coimbatore that there is some requirement there in ESA Hospital which they're not able to fulfill due to lack of funds and many other issues. So we came to know through Gopinath only. So what we did was we went and met the Dean of ESA Hospital. He gave us a list of materials, a small list of materials, and he also asked for 2-3 oxygen concentrators. So what we did was we mobilized internally funds through our clients and friends, and we gave the relief materials, some medicines, some oximeters and masks and a few dead body bags and also an oxygen concentrate also. The consolidated value of this original project was 1.5 lakhs and we handed over. That is where the spark came to us. We thought, why not we mobilize a much bigger fund and help it to the Coimbatore GH, because we came to know at that time that Coimbatore GH was actually facing a lot of issues with lack of funds and the government was not able to fully fulfill all the requirements of the GH. We came to know directly from the Dean of the GH Hospital Coimbatore. So we consulted beloved past president G. Ramasamy sir and also SASA chairman Jalapati and our TASI president Ravi Shankar sir also. They were very much helpful and really encouraging. The whole project was immediately okayed by them. They told we are also ready to take part of this project. It really helped us a lot. With this encouragement, we gave an announcement to the. We first went and initially we went and met the GH of the Coimbatore Medical Hospital, and she gave a list of items that was required by them. In fact, the list was much bigger. Actually, they gave a list of worth of 1 crore. We told her immediately, madam, this is not possible for us to mobilize this bigger fund because almost all our members are contributing through either of other forums like Rotary or Roundtable or Lions Club or whatever forum they are part of. They've been already doing. We are not sure about that. In spite of that, we did not want to trouble much of our members by asking for further collections also. So we told the madam, we'll doing for 10 lakhs, whatever is possible by us, we'll do it. She also okayed with it, and we started making announcements to the members. I think we made the announcement on Friday. By Tuesday, we were able to close the fund collection. In fact, we forcefully stopped the collection because we did not want to trouble much of our members. So every member's name, I cannot spell it out now because of lack of time. That is the reason, not because of any other reason. But almost 70 members of our Coimbatore branch and TASI members had contributed to this fund. This is the level of participation that and within 3 days, we had crossed 10 lakhs. We had collected nearly 13 lakhs and forcefully we thank the members saying that this is enough for us. We'll do that, and then the next part, whatever is to be done, we'll do that. That is so. Simultaneously, what we did was we immediately asked the task force members to look for the products that was the wide variety of materials were asked actually. They're right from cots, blankets, bed sheets, medicines, technical equipments for oxygen masks or all those things were asked. We teamed out and formed subgroups also. All these groups tasked out and went and identified proper vendors and got a very competitive rates in all those things. In fact, when you say the 13 lakhs of material, actually the worth of material is more than 13 lakhs. We had negotiated very toughly with all and requested them, saying that this is going for a relief activity. Kindly give us a discount. All those things were requested. And we got the discount, heavy discounts, and we mobilized all the products in 5 days. And then we fixed up a date with the dean of the medical college and medical hospital. And that madam had come to the government medical. And we personally went. We did not want to trouble the senior members who had contributed so much by asking them personally to come to the bank, to the hospital and get affected or infected by the COVID. We did not want to take that chance also. So what we did was, myself and other senior 2-3 past president chairmen of the institute went there personally, and we made sure that it was properly handed over. They were really happy, but we were more happy because the happiness is only in giving. So I thank every one of you for the contribution, whatever little bit or higher bit, more bit, whatever it is. The effort is what is to be thanked. And I thank specifically I'd like to thank the TASI and President Ravi Shankar sir for facilitating the bank account and doing many other things which were behind the screen. Despite his handicap of not being able to move outside because of the COVID, I really thank him and all the members who have contributed. I think we have proved that we are real partners in nation building. This is not just a phrase, it is the codification of our work. I thank each one of you once again, and I hope we really do. I don't want such relief activities to happen, don't want such calamities to happen, but if at all something happens in future, I'm hopeful that our Coimbatore Chartered Accountants will be there in forefront to do the service. Thank you, each one of you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the brief of what has happened on the fundraising and the execution. May I now request Venkatesh to introduce the speaker of the day.
Good evening, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to introduce CA Arihant Baid. He has almost a decade of experience, and he started his career with KPMG and EY on the statutory audit and risk management, later moved on to a pharmaceutical giant. Right now he's there. And he has running a channel on YouTube called Brown Brainy and Pathway for CA. And there are more than 100,000 views on his videos. And that shows the popularity of him among the student and young chartered accountants. And indeed, it is a great pleasure to invite him. And it is indeed a great pleasure to host a TEDx speaker for the first time in TASI and our Coimbatore branch of SARC. We welcome you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Venkatesh sir, for that wonderful introduction. And special congratulations to Prabhu sir and his entire team for the great work that they have done, which he just let us know, informed all of us. It's very motivating to see how our profession is actually helping in building the nation, rather than just being a phrase, how we are actually putting it to practice. Kamesh sir and Ravi Shankar sir, special thanks to Ravi Shankar sir for being patient throughout with me interacting and then giving me this opportunity to come over here. And all the esteemed members of the Auditors Association of Southern India, and of course the Coimbatore branch of ICAI. It's indeed a pleasure to be discussing on a topic, as a lot of you rightfully said during the introduction, that now it has become a norm, and it's not something new. It's not something that has just happened, but it has been happening for the past 1.5 years, and now we are all in the midst of it. And probably in the future, this is going to be, at least for the foreseeable future, this is what is going to be the most talked about important thing, and the way we work. So I just wanted to check before I proceed, are you able to see the PPT on my screen that I'm sharing?
Yes, sir.
We are able to view. We are able to view.
Great, great. So a brief, quick introduction about myself. As Venkatesh sir already mentioned, I have close to a decade of experience now. Started off with KPMG statutory audit, and then I was around 4.5 years in Ernst & Young with their risk advisory services. And right now I'm working with Novartis Pharmaceutical, and I'm working in their controls and compliances department. And I also host a couple of YouTube channels, the primary one being Pathway to CA, where I am mentoring and trying to help more than 1 lakh CA students to be on the right path to becoming chartered accountants and give back to the profession as much as the profession is going to give to them. And also a channel Brown Brainiac, where I'm trying to help the young professionals and also young students across field, where they can actually go and understand how, personality development and how do they study, how do they increase their productivity. So all of that I'm doing. And yes, I also had the opportunity to be a TEDx speaker. And today I'm more than happy to come and share my thoughts, my 2 cents on this entire paradigm shift that we are now having in this corporate world. And as the respected dignitaries earlier mentioned, that none of us has been left untouched, more so in the chartered accountancy profession, because we are so involved in all the industries. We are not, specific to IT industry or specific to manufacturing industry or sector or pharmaceutical sector, but we are all pervasive. We are everywhere. And anything that happens, I think we are one of the first ones who have to adopt to the changing world. And that has been, I think, the USP of all the chartered accountants, that we are very fast to embrace change and to redefine and redevelop ourselves and adopt to the new normal, to the new situation whenever the situation has demanded. And that is what is happening now also. So let us let me take you through this entire discussion. Firstly, just to give you an overview of what is the global thought process on this work from home concept. How are the larger organizations across the globe taking it? Some are taking it favorably, some are not taking it favorably, but what is the general direction? And then I'll also try to throw about a little bit of my insights on how a mid-sized firm in our wonderful profession has been impacted, and maybe share my few thoughts on how things can be adopted, or some of the tools and tricks and tips that can also help the mid-sized firms to redefine their working strategy, especially when it comes to using some tools, technologies, and also the HR part of it, or the human resources part of it. And then I'm sure when we have the panel discussion where the actual experienced professionals who are working day in and out, and are the proprietors, are the partners in these firms, and have been experiencing, all of you will be able to share your valuable thoughts and experiences on how you have been able to make the most out of the situation that we are in. First thing, I think, this paradigm shift has opened up a new front for all of us. Nitin Kamath, who is, the CEO and co-founder of Zerodha, the online trading platform, he has said that this is the answer to many of India's problems, the way we work, the change, and the work from home concept. And I think all of us have somewhere or the other over the last couple of years, we have witnessed how things have drastically changed when we are under lockdowns and sitting at home. We are seeing that, in the northern part of the country, from Uttar Pradesh, Saharanpur, we can see Himalayas, which are 200 kilometers away for the first time in decades. That's because the pollution levels have gone down. The birds have returned to the lakes are cleaner, the nature is healing itself, the cities are decluttered. I mean, we know that a lot of our cities currently are under extreme pressure, especially cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Chennai, and all the major towns and cities are under tremendous real estate pressure. Resources are limited, dwindling, and then there is this clusterification of human resources in these cities, concentration in these cities, which has led to dominoes effect and many other challenges. And that is why we all know that decluttering the cities, working from home, from the comfort of our own homes, in our towns, in our cities, in our villages, it's going to completely change both the infrastructure back home and also declutter these cities. One very interesting thought that Mark Zuckerberg, who is the CEO of Facebook, what he said was, now we are free to recruit talent from anywhere in the world. We don't have to either depend on United States human resources pool, or we don't have to go around the world looking and relocating people. We can just hire them. They can be there at their base location and they can come work for us. And similarly, I think even in case of our own chartered accountant firms, now we have talent pool available across the globe. And if somebody has if somebody wants to hire some expert from some other place, some other city, some other nation, you are very well welcome to do that. You can now easily do it without getting into this whole trouble of the immigration and the relocations and all of that. So we are saving cost, but more importantly, we are now attracting talent pool from across the globe and not just being dependent on our own locality or our own immediate vicinity. The next thing is, I think many of the giants that we are talking about have decided that either we will move permanently from to the work from home concept, or maybe in a phased manner, we will start either reducing our workforce or maybe have just 20-25% of our workforce in our offices, and rest all will, at least for the foreseeable future, be working from home. And the list is, I've just given a few examples: Infosys, TCS, Coca-Cola, Siemens, Novartis, Twitter, and there are maybe a 50 or 100 other global conglomerates who have already, decided that the employees are now given the flexibility to be working from home permanently, and they may not return back to the office ever. Even in case of my own organization, it has given us an opportunity to decide whether we want to be based out of our homes for the rest of our careers with the organization. And similarly, I think TCS has said that except for 25% of our workforce, by 2025, we plan to see that everybody is actually working from home and we are completely independent of our real estate facilities, our offices. I think this is the initial talk or how things are right now. I'm sure in the times to come, things will change, dynamics will change, and maybe even these decisions might change. But right now, it's definite that many of the organizations, not just these few big conglomerates, but even smaller organizations or country level or state level companies are now looking at this option, because everybody has realized that sitting at home, we have been able to accomplish the work that we were doing by coming to our offices. Then why not, go forward and start using this as an opportunity to reduce our own facility costs, to reduce our own admin costs, but more importantly, to save time that is spent in traffic, in traveling from one meeting to another, being stuck in long hours of endless traffic while in the morning busy hours, on the evening busy hours. So we are saving on time, we are saving on costs, and maybe the productivity is also increasing because the people are now getting time to spend more time with their own family, and that is also helping them heal in a certain way and redefine the boundaries between professional and personal life. But as there are two sides to every coin, even in this situation, not everyone is happy. I quoted some of the big organizations saying how they welcome this change, but then organizations like Goldman Sachs, their CEOs have come and told that this is the last thing that we wanted, because what they are saying is, unless an associate or an employee experiences the hustle on ground, experiences the heat on ground, especially say Goldman Sachs is into investment banking, if they do not experience the Wall Street and the madness around it, how will they ever learn what investment banking is all about? And most surprisingly, the CEO of Netflix or co-founder of Netflix, who should have been the happiest with this entire change, because now their platform is growing much faster thanks to people sitting at their home and all the movie theaters being shut. People want to consume more content online in their house. He has said that 12 hours after the vaccine is approved, I will open my offices and ask the entire staff to come in. Of course, later on, he did mention that 12 hours after a vaccine is approved is an exaggeration. But what he meant was, once his workforce is vaccinated, they will definitely move back to the offices, and they are not looking at a permanent work from home solution, because according to them, this is not the most productive way of sharing ideas, sharing new thought processes, collaborating, getting together. And that is why not just Netflix or Goldman Sachs, but many other IT organizations, I believe even Microsoft for that matter, has said that we would like to come back to offices. And there are many other organizations now also. I think Wipro yesterday said that we would want to start opening up and getting back our people in the office once the vaccination is done. And I'm sure a lot of them will come back, but a lot of them will remain at home, because what has happened is, as an example, Google last year has estimatedly saved $1 billion just by shutting down their offices and asking their employees to be working from home. The huge sprawling campuses of many of the organizations I have read and I have seen, that they are now letting it out to other organizations or whomever wants to rent it. Maybe if they had 40 buildings, now 20 buildings are on lease and they want to rent it out and start earning money, because now they are going in for this permanent work from home option and they are saving a lot of money. In fact, now it becomes a revenue generation if they are leasing it out. So from a pure P&L point of view, I think it is almost a no-brainer that the costs that will be saved as a result of people working from home, of course, there'll be a one-time cost where you are giving your employees maybe 30,000, 40,000 rupees to set up their home office setup, get a new screen, get a new monitor, maybe a table, maybe a chair. But after that, you are saving a lot of money, avoiding all the admin costs and all the real estate costs. But on the other side, it's a fight where employees, only 11% of the employees are actually feeling that their productivity has increased. The remaining 89% are not very excited about working from home. And on a lighter note, I think a lot of us sitting at home have been pulled into the daily household work. And I think that also might be a reflection over here, that only 11% are happy and the others just want to go back to their offices. But that's only on a lighter note. However, there'll be thousands of surveys. There are thousands of such reports that you will see. One will state that there is something favorable. The other will state that there is something not so favorable. But it all boils down to what are the challenges and the opportunities. And that is also the topic for the day that we are facing, and especially now narrowing down to the mid-sized firms of our humble profession. What is the challenges that they are facing and what are the opportunities that we have sought? Because we have to be fair, these large organizations, which are working 50 countries, 60 countries, they have the kind of tech capabilities, they have the kind of money to invest immediately on strong, secure frameworks, be it IT or be it setting up the entire planning, the infrastructure. Very quickly, they have adopted to new ways of working. And because they had that power, they had that scale in which they could take decisions immediately, invest a lot of money, and ensure that business as usual is running smooth. There is no disruption. There is no hole in between or in continuity of the work that was proceeding. And as Sir already mentioned, I think the IT industry was already very used to this concept of offshore working or working from home. A client in US is sitting in the US and taking calls with an Indian counterpart. They just don't care whether that Indian counterpart is sitting in an office location or is sitting at home and working from home, because they had their work being done over the internet any which ways. But for our profession, especially where we are so used to interacting with our stakeholders, meeting them, and then when we are actually auditing, we need to physically understand, see, go do walkthroughs of the entire setup. If we are visiting a plant, if we are visiting a warehouse, if we are doing physical stock audit, we need to visit, we need to see it from our own eyes in order to be able to believe and also interact with the stakeholders. And that is what, was forming the essence of the entire work that we were doing. But that has certainly changed. Of course, there are exceptions. We can always get a letter from the government saying that, okay, this is essential service. Or when lockdowns are off and we are allowed to go out again, we can still pay that one odd visit. But then what we were used to doing is certainly going to change. From 5 days or 6 days a week, we will come down to maybe 2 days a week of going to office and 3 days, 4 days of working from home, at least until all the people are vaccinated. And these waves that somehow mysteriously keep coming, not just in India, but now we are seeing elsewhere in Russia and Europe. Again, there is a resurgence. In South Korea, there's a resurgence. And then, the health ministry or the health officials saying that the third wave could be even worse and could target children. We never know what's going to happen in the immediate future or in the long future, because mutants, strains, of course, I don't mean to scare anybody and not to do the work of our media houses of, asking these imposing questions. But then that is the reality, and it's important that we are embracing it and moving forward to be ready that if God forbid anything again comes down to this situation, then we are ready. So I think, talking of few of the challenges, I think tech trouble has been the biggest challenge that a lot of CA firms have faced. Although, we had our own computers, we had our own softwares, but very few organizations must have imagined that we will have to operate this remotely. We didn't have clouds, we didn't have those secure tech servers, we didn't have those capabilities of hosting data online, nor did quite a lot of organizations have the complete end-to-end picture of how do we do it in case we have to sit at home and work. So that tech trouble continues to be even today. Maybe we have adopted, and I'm sure most of us are or have been able to iron it out. But then again, it's always challenging to adopt and to change ourselves completely, and especially the hacking and the data security, the data privacy that we need to have while handling client data. That makes it even more difficult for us to ensure that our technology is up to date, spick and span, and is not being targeted by any malware or any other malicious content. Decision making has probably become a little more complex and tedious. Earlier, I could just walk into my principal's or my partner's office or my boss's office and tell, sir, this is what we are doing. And now please give me direction. Please tell me what do we do. And decisions were taken in a conference room with 10 people coming together, and that's it. But now what has happened is you need to first set up a meeting, see if everybody is available, contact them. Maybe somebody will have tech issue. Maybe somebody will tell, okay, I need some more time to think. Please, let's connect back after 1 hour. All that bureaucracy might, come in, and that can pose challenge, especially for smaller firms who need to make quick decisions. Coordinating and trying to manage all of that might become a challenge. Monotonous. The one reason we all loved to go to our offices or to client place, because it was a breath of fresh air. We were going out, meeting new people. We were doing different things. But now sitting at this place for the last 1.5 years, I think even the best of people who are used to working from home will feel it is a little monotonous and start getting a little irritated. Lack of supervision and direction, very important, especially when, we are talking about articles, because they are new, they are young, they might not understand the work or the ways of working of our organization, and they need constant guidance. That is something which becomes even more difficult because, again, now you don't see them. Now you only are, talking to them. So it becomes a little tricky coordinating. Although one of the very interesting things that when I was, taking this presentation with the Chamber of Tax, what over there people were sharing how they have been able to get their teams together through WhatsApp groups and create a structure of working that if somebody is not available for 15 minutes or not available for half an hour for whatever reason, they're just updating it in the WhatsApp group, and everybody is aware that next 30 minutes this person is not going to be available, so we might expect a delay. That also comes with the confidence that a boss or a manager or the superior shows in their employees, that fine, you don't have to be available 12 hours or 15 hours a day just to show that you are working. You have to be available when you are needed. And also, you need to inform that you are not available now, so that we are not dependent on you that, okay, I'm waiting on an important decision, but I don't know where this person has disappeared. That shouldn't be the case. And, simple things like WhatsApp group and creating that trust among the employees that you just update, and this is only for everybody's information. I think that goes a long way in ensuring that there is visibility of who is doing what. Again, I think dip in productivity, as you saw the result, only 11% of people think they have become more productive. All the others are not feeling very productive. And that's bound to happen because, there's a very thin line that separates your work or homework from or office work from your home. So if you have your family members around, there's always a chance that maybe there's something more urgent that you want to go and have a look at, and then you might end up losing on your office work. So that space is now merged, and it's very difficult to differentiate between the two spaces, and that can always lead to a dip in productivity. Social isolation, I think man is a social being, one of the oldest and most appropriate quotes. And I'm sure all of us are feeling that bit of, that bit of pinch that we are not able to travel, we are not able to meet people, especially in our profession, where the whole crux, the whole fun lies in meeting a lot of people, interacting with them, thinking with them, and whether it be the CEOs of your organizations that you are working back with, or the employees of that organization, or the employees of your own organization, social isolation is becoming a very big challenge. And that, then that also brings in the fact of mental health, which again is highly ignored in a country like ours, but is an important aspect, especially for the new articles who are students, who are being deprived, who are confused whether their exams will happen or not happen, whether their colleges will run or not run, whether their future is secured or not secured. I think that mental pressure also comes in the youngsters, and that is something that everybody should be taking care of. Government pressure, of course, if today we will want to shut down our offices and go back to our locations, government will tell us, or even if we want to operate at 20% of our capacity, the government of the day will tell, hey, excuse me, I gave you this land at throwaway prices because, or I set up this SEZ with so many relaxations for you because of XYZ reason, that you will give employment, you will bring people to my state, which in turn will bring development. And now if you are telling that you need only 1 floor instead of 10 floors, then maybe I'll not be able to give you all the relaxations and all the gifts that we were giving you to set your organization and to work. So government pressure is also going to be a factor in the long run, not immediately, not right now, but I'm pretty sure that couple of years down the line, maybe even the governments will ask companies to start shifting back their employees to the location. So that could be a challenge at that point of time. But I think we are all chartered accountants. We look towards opportunities and how we can improvise ourselves, how we can move further. New tools enable work to be done much faster and easier. So I was very interestingly reading one notification or one important announcement that has come on our ICI website under the important announcement section, that the committee for practice, for members in practice, the CMP, has actually now launched an initiative where they are offering digital tools for free to all the medium and small-sized firms, so that you can make use of all the digital audit tools as an entire organization or as an entire body. Now the ICI is taking proactive steps to ensure that all the mid-sized firms are being able to leverage these audit tools. So if you haven't got a chance, please go and see this announcement. It says, I'm just reading it, register for digital audit tools free of cost, an initiative by CMP ICI. The notification came out yesterday. So we have a lot of tools, and in the next slide, I will also run through some of the tools that we are using in our organization. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. A lot of them are available for free, in fact, where you can actually collaborate with your team members, get work done online. And as Sir was mentioning, in a few days to come, one of the giants is going to come and speak with all of you on how they can partner with the profession and help ease out our work when we are working from home. So I think new tools will enable the work to be done much faster, much easier. Turnaround times will be shorter, and that probably will counter the dip in productivity that our people might have. Communicating with colleagues is now incredibly fast and convenient. Again, that a person, if there is proper coordination, I can get in touch with a person within a second, and then I can start speaking with them. Earlier, I had to go to their office, sit down and talk, and waste the time in the transportation or the movement. So challenge is one side, but same things also pose opportunities for us, and it all depends on how we are going to see it and embrace it. Everything is digital, easier to keep track of, right from your employees' productivity to what work is being done, to what files are being shared. Everything now has a audit log, as we would like to call it, or has a imprint on the face of the internet. So we know what has happened when, and in case of any, if we have to go and check what has happened when it has happened, we know what it is, what is happening. Money and time savings, I think we have stressed already enough on how this entire scheme is saving us a lot of money and time, be it the admin cost, the human resources cost. We don't have to relocate people anymore. And in fact, Facebook is now telling that if our employees are moving back to less expensive locations, we might also reduce their salaries. Employees won't be happy about it, but then at the end of the day, I think it's a trade-off where the employees get to be back at home, and the organization is also benefiting from this reduction in cost. So money and time savings is one of the important things. And I think lastly, it's the sense of ownership and accountability. Now, I think earlier, all of us were in an environment that, okay, my manager or my boss will come and tell me what to do. My boss will come and supervise me. My boss will come and stand and see what I am doing. And only then I will do work. But now, to a mind that wants to develop and that wants to think, they will now get space. They will not be under the pressure that, okay, my peers are watching me. If something goes wrong, they will laugh at me. No. Now I have my space. I will do my work. I will take the ownership. I will take the accountability, and I will deliver my work. And that is how people can start growing. Even if there are articles or freshly qualified or experienced people, I think the sense of ownership will slowly but surely build. But yes, the lack of leadership might create hurdles in mentoring these young generations, because a lot of you in your respective firms, I'm sure you will go and you will talk to the articles, you will explain them, you will give them a piece of your mind of how you think, how you have grown, how you sit with the client and talk with them, the finer aspects of leadership and the finer aspects of moving forward in this profession, that sometimes come when I'm seeing my boss do it in a way, and then I adopt, okay, in this situation, this is how I need to behave. That might be amiss amidst all of this virtual reality. But then at the end of the day, again, it's a trade-off. We give up something, we learn something. A lot of challenges and opportunities in addition to what I have mentioned, and I'm sure when we open down the discussion, we will be able to talk a lot about it. But from my side, I think this is the last slide I'll be talking upon, and it is in terms of the remote workspace options that we have. Now, there are thousands of tools available. There are hundreds of tools which are being created at pace faster than ever, which will help us in many ways. Here are some of the tools which I have used or I have known about, and then probably you all from your experience can also add on. So tools like AnyDesk, it is the remote virtual desktop where I can access anybody's desk. So if I want to do some work on one of my colleagues' desk, I simply download this tool for free of cost. Of course, there are always free versions, there are always paid versions with different capabilities. But I can now effectively, share my screen or control somebody else's laptop if I want to, and then we can, have an interactive session. The second screenshot that I show is something called Miro board, MIRO board, a very colorful collaborative board where it's like a whiteboard that you have, where you can put post-its, where you can put pictures, where you can do your planning, who is doing what, who is responsible for what, daily task planners. And then at the end of the day, you can ask that person to keep updating what they have done. You can do all of this on an Excel spreadsheet also. You can host Excel spreadsheet on Google Drive and tell people to, fill what they have done during the day. But that is boring. And that also, somehow seems like micromanaging, that, okay, you tell me per hour what you are doing, or full day, every day you tell me what you are doing. This is an exciting way, colorful way of collaborating. And of course, it is more versatile. You can have client discussions on this board, and people from all over can share your videos also. I mean, you can be live on this, and you can keep working around like just you were in a workshop, and in a big board, you were writing down all the ideas or writing down all the discussion points. Very exciting, very interesting tool. Again, available for free and for paid versions also. Do check that out. But the other ones, I think what our organization is using, like a lot of organizations, is MS Teams. And MS Teams over the last 1 year has integrated and brought in a lot of new features, which I think has made it easier for all of us to collaborate. Of course, Zoom is also one way in which all of us are having these meetings with our clients also. Skype, Google Drive, Google Hangouts. So Skype or Google Drive, there is also one application called OneDrive, which is a cloud-based platform again, where you can securely post your files, you can host your files, and people from the organization who actually have access to that particular folder can go and download those files or see those files. So it becomes a little more secure. Plus, again, from my previous outing at the Chambers of Tax Consultants, they were also mentioning about a couple of organizations who at a very low cost are now coming up to help set up own virtual private networks and these dedicated exclusive SharePoints where only your organization data will be posted. And for a very small annual fee per user, you will be able to actually share a lot of content all the secure information that you want to share, all the confidential information over the secured cloud space or cloud framework. So that is also something, now there are many tools, and I'm sure when we have a few technical updates that our esteemed colleague is just going to give after this, then also we will be able to see a lot of tools and other technologies that are now being used. But all in all, I mean, at least for a couple of years, if not more, hopefully at least minimum or maximum couple of years, I would just say that we all soon get back to the old way of working. But right now, this seems to be the new normal. And this is the direction in which most of our organizations are headed. India has very aggressively planned to vaccinate all of its citizens by the end of this year. Hopefully that's done. But then if there is a need of third dose, or then something else happens, we are always prepared. And even if nothing wrong goes, which hopefully does not, if nothing wrong happens also, I think it is not a bad idea to adopt this flexi working, where we are actually mixing work from office and work from home as an option, 3+2 or 2+3 or 4+1, where 4 days we are working, 1 day we are from home, mix and match, because that is the direction that we will be heading into. And of course, cyber security and in artificial intelligence and technology will definitely play a very integrated role in whatever we are going to do. So this, I think this is what I had to share with all of you. And I hope it has given you some input, some insights. And once again, a huge thanks to everybody who has allowed me this opportunity to speak over here and share my thoughts with you. And I think I'm now excited for all the discussions that we are going to have. So over to you, sir, for your Venkatesh sir, for your next update session.
Thank you, C. Haryant. It was a nice presentation on the opportunities and the challenges on work from home. I think now the new concept now, previously on-site was going abroad. Now maybe on-site, maybe reaching office itself, maybe become an on-site in the future times to come. That's how it is going to be there. Maybe on-site will say I'm maybe working from office. That's how it will be there. And as rightly put by our senior member during our informal discussion, for anything we have a preamble. So maybe for work from home, the preamble is only the COVID. That is how it goes. As we put up in the initial remarks, we have consolidated certain questions on the non-technical aspects, which we thought first we'll put it, then going into the technical aspects. CA Mahesh Prabhu has consolidated some questions on the queries on the non-technical aspects. I now call upon CA Mahesh Prabhu to put in those questions to the speaker, so that it definitely it will add to all the queries of all the members. Similarly, members, if you got any queries, kindly put it up in the dashboard over here. So we'll be able to, in this chat box, so we'll be able to take it up and then put those questions also now. Over to now, CA Mahesh Prabhu.
Thank you, Mr. Kamesh. Thank you, Arihant, for a very beautiful and thought-provoking presentation on work from home. We have received a lot of interesting questions from members. This topic being the most relevant one in the current scenario. Due to paucity of time, I'm only taking up some of the most relevant questions to the speaker. So let me move on to the questions. The first question is, how to create an effective work from home policy for smaller firms? What should be the area of focus? Can you name few important areas for focus?
Yeah, from my point of view, I think I already mentioned few of them. I think the biggest concern, I think number one is our data security, how we are handling our data, because we are not using our office computers anymore, our office environment anymore. So having a very strict, clear guideline on how you can use, even if the office is providing laptops, then what is the content that you can download on it? Because what happens is, we unfortunately, we do not maintain that professionalism, and on our work laptop, we are downloading torrents and we are downloading movies and everything. And that then leads to a data security problem, especially in this environment. So I think number one priority should be the data security when working from home policy is being thought about, that how should the data be handled? What is it that you can access? What is it that you can't access? and how should you behave yourself when you are online connected to the entire world. So that is number one. And then the second concern that usually comes is, how do we manage productivity for our employees? So for that, I think that is something that needs to be clearly laid down in the policy, that these are the 10 steps that we are going to do in order to monitor who is doing what work. Maybe timesheets, maybe you have your Excel, simple timesheets, simple project planners, very clearly stated that, say, at the end of every week, you log in that these are the 5 or 6 activities. Of course, I know that micromanagement is not the right thing, but just to get a sense of what everybody is doing and whether we are all proceeding in the correct direction, I think that work from home policy, that has to be included in work from home policy, that how are we overall monitoring. So these are the top 2 things that I would want to suggest. And there are a few more things, but these are the top 2 things, and maybe esteemed members who have more thoughts can add on to what I have just said.
Thank you, Arvind. Moving on, the next question is, what are the things an employer should focus when work from home is enabled? What are the things an employer should be ready to ignore when work from home is enabled?
That's an interesting question. I think ready to ignore, it's again what your employee is doing, because a lot of us have this urge that, oh, my employee must be sleeping right now, must be watching TV right now, must be. So this urge of controlling the employees, I think that has to be ignored. You have to make them you have to strengthen them, those employees. You have to empower them, that you take accountability. This is the task given to you. Within a week, I need this output. You please give it to me. Any doubts, any challenges, any queries, you come back to me and you tell me that you are having a problem and we will sort it out. Don't wait for the week to end, but then give the employees freedom and ignore the finer aspects that, okay, my employee has not answered my call, so he must have gone away somewhere. So that is one thing I could definitely say on the softer aspect to ignore. The second thing that they should keep in mind is that the training of the employees, especially the articles, should now become priorities, because they are not being trained on ground. And these articles, when they are in the second year or third year, they are your assets. They are the ones who do a lot of heavy lifting. So even through virtual means, ensure that the team stays connected. Again, from my previous discussion with the chambers of tax, one thing that one of the members suggested was, we are asking our employees, or we are asking our articles and the workforce, every week we are giving one topic, and then somebody has to come, make a PPT and do a presentation to the entire team. So in this way, one, they are increasing their confidence of talking to the camera, because talking to a person and talking to a camera are 2 different things. They are increasing their presentation skills, how to create a presentation, what is the thought process that should go in. Plus, they are also connecting with their teams. So that soft connect, because we are not being able to meet physically, I think that is one very important thing that the employers should keep in mind. These are, of course, the softer aspects. Again, I also mentioned, and I keep stressing on the fact of data privacy and security. That is on a little more technical aspect that all the employees should be very concerned and very careful about, because that is what our profession is all about, confidentiality.
Mahesh, just 1 minute. I'll have one question from the chat. I'll just ask, then you can go ahead with your other questions consolidated. I have one question from CA Ramji. His question is, while asking for work from home software, a requirement which they say is having a fixed IP, how do we go about it? Is it mandatory to have a fixed IP? Is his main question.
Yeah, I might not be the best guy to answer on this technical side, sir, but what I have understood is these IP addresses, they are required, especially when you want to do this whole private networks, or there's an option of virtual private network also, where you can route through the other networks that are available, and you don't need a fixed IP. But if you have to create your own wide area network, that time you will have to need this fixed IP. And again, for a very small fees, there are organizations which are helping you to set up your own IP address and help you set up this infrastructure overall.
Yes, Mahesh, you can go ahead.
The next question is how to overcome time management, supervision, quality of service during work from home. Further, how to motivate the employees during work from home.
Yeah, motivation. I think I mentioned a couple of things already when it comes to time management and productivity management and motivation. So, see, motivation now, work is no more the motivation now because people are sitting at home. Earlier, we would tell that, hey, if you will, excel in your work, I will send you to that client, which is, maybe the premium client and has a very good experience, exposure to offer you. You can go interact over there. And as you proceed, you will have your own team and you will grow in stature. You will start learning a lot of things. That motivated people a lot that, yes, I have to proceed and I have to have my own team, have two people under me who are, and we are handling a project all together, going to the client place, discussing with them. It can still happen now, but then hey, the fun of being physically present is all gone. So now we'll have to look at add on finer aspects of motivation for employees, that is recognizing their good work. Earlier, what used to happen, my principal comes, checks what I'm doing. Oh, very good, Aryan, good job. Continue. That was enough to motivate me. But in this virtual world where, we are trying to be point to point, 30 minutes of meeting slot and, talking only on phone, that appreciation might miss away. So that is something important that should be inculcated. Secondly, I think from motivation point of view, the brand that I was associated with motivated me a lot. If I'm going to my firm, oh, this firm is, one of the best mid-sized firms in my city. I'm proud to be working for this. And I used to wear that proudly. Now that, again, when we are not meeting many people, when we are not talking about our firms and when I'm not having chit chat with my friends, that might somewhere, that brand image might go amiss. So for that, small things like maybe when your article is joining, if you're a mid-sized firm, you can just give them a few gifts like a bottle with your name printed, a pen with your name printed of your firm. This will help the associate or the article understand or the employee understand that, yes, I am associated to this firm. This is one of the best firms that we have around and I'm very proud of. So that is on the motivation part. And then on the overall monitoring on the working piece, as I said, try Miro board, MIRO board. You can Google search it. Very interactive way to have all your employees on one platform and talk to them and see what they are doing. People can update what is their mood, how are they feeling, what work are they doing. If they need any support, if they want to thank anybody, you can post it on that board. So that will keep an excitement that let me check what is happening in my organization. Let me just see what is going on. And they will at least be connected to the entire colleague list in some way. So that can also help in increasing productivity.
Moving on, the next question is, does work from home really affect the psychological health of an employee? What can employers do to make sure that people are staying focused, committed, and happy?
Yeah, that's the most important question. I want to thank whoever has asked that, because one thing that we are ignoring, as I also mentioned in my this thing, that psychologically we take for granted that that person must be doing fine only if he or she does not have COVID, he's doing fine. That is what unfortunately now the assumption has become. But then sitting at home, and not everybody has good facility at home. They don't even have good infrastructure, internet, the space that they are working in to focus. And that will definitely take a toll on your. So earlier, for a lot of us, the escape from what is, if there is some trouble that is going on, the escape was, let's go to office, let's focus on work for 9 to 10 hours. We will, it will be differentiated, my problems and my work. Now that is mixed. So again, very important to, like, for example, what my organization is doing is, they every once in a month, what they do is they will just tell you that you buy food worth 1,000 rupees, and then let's get onto a call and just talk about what's happening. Just pick up some fun topic. Somebody is singing, somebody is telling some story, somebody is telling their experience. No work. And this is only once a month, or you can also do it once a quarter if you wish. But then you are just like you used to go to a outing in a restaurant with your team to celebrate any small event, that okay, today we have got appreciation from the client, let's celebrate by this method. Earlier we used to go to restaurants, have a cake cutting or something, but now maybe that's not possible. So you try to replicate that virtually, so that your employees still having that psychological differentiation that work is not 100% work, it is fun also, and I am getting to learn new things also. And also, as I was mentioning, have some contests organized for your employees, or ask them to present some random topic, not work related topic, once every Friday maybe, or have some, like, after 3 o'clock on Friday or 4 o'clock on Friday, we will only get together for doing some casual discussions and not work related discussions, 1 hour, 2 hours of break. So that can definitely motivate a lot of employees.
One query from my side. Maybe it's both technical and non-technical. Your advice, work from home, it incurs cost incurred for all the licensed softwares to be given to the staffs. Your Office Windows, Tally license cost and other softwares. Your advice is being asked for both on the technical and as well as on the technical, non-technical one.
Yeah, so I think, if we have to give softwares, we have to give softwares. There is no option on that. And as I said, that is maybe a one-time cost. Of course, there'll always be license renewal cost also. But then the cost that you are saving is also something you'll have to consider. You'll have to probably provide laptop also, or maybe you'll also have to give monitors. You might also have to provide internet, because I can't expect an article with a minimum stipend to buy a good bandwidth internet. And you might also have to provide that recurring cost. That is something that has come free, bundled with this work from home challenge. And that is something we have to accept. But I think it will get, or I would hope it would get, mitigated by the other admin costs and the productivity that we are saving. So, that is all what I can say. And there are different softwares available. You need not always go for SAP. You can also go for something lower than that. I just hasn't. So maybe that can.
Go to Mahesh.
Next question is, can you name some tools for measuring employee productivity and review them, their work performance?
So as I mentioned, that tools, so at least in our organization, it is a complete no-no that we will monitor our employees on what they are doing. But again, an Excel spreadsheet, a timesheet concept is, I think, more than enough. You are assigning, it has to be task-based. This is the task that you are getting, and we'll have to be very clear. Earlier, maybe in the office, I would come and tell, hey, you are working on this task, wait, now do this task, then again come back to this one. Now we will have to firstly, from the top, be very organized, that these are the tasks that are broken down for the day. These are the major tasks for the week. We have to achieve this as a team. Clear responsibilities are assigned, that person X, you have to do these 3 things. Person Y, you have to do these 3 things. Of course, there will be that 20%, 10% of deviations here and there. New things will come, some urgent thing will come. But then have that clear understanding of who is responsible for what, who is accountable for what. Just draw something called as responsibility accountability matrix, that this is the 10 tasks that we are having. Smallest of tasks are listed, and this is the timeline agreed with the employee, that tell me how much time do you need. Of course, employee will tell I need 2 months to do this. But as principal, as a proprietor or as a partner, you might know better that no, not 2 months. We need to complete this task in 3 weeks. So at the end of the week, give me a progress report. Are we progressing? Are we not progressing? Then there are these Gantt charts that we prepare. We have the entire timeline of the next month or the year. We have the tasks listed on the x-axis, and then we are drawing lines as to when does an activity start, when does an activity end, and what are the different checkpoints or milestones that need to be ticked off in that particular activity, so that we all are aware that this is the progress, this is where we are, this is how much we are delayed or advanced, and we can time to time monitor what the work is happening. And for smaller aspects of productivity, as I mentioned, the WhatsApp groups you can create, and you can just tell your employees that if you're not available for half an hour, please put that you're not available for half an hour. Even if you're going for lunch, let us know that you're going for lunch, so that we are not disturbing you.
One more query from CSK Prabhu, senior member. Separate hardware, you had said that request for supporting data security. That could be expensive for mid-sized firms. Is there any tool or a system by which monitoring is possible when during the working hours, non-official work could be prevented?
Yes, sir. Actually, honestly speaking, it's not very expensive. For just seeing if non-productive work or non-office related works are being done, you need not have an exclusive hardware setup. If you just Google some softwares that can track your keypad, the keys that you are hitting on your keypad, or the website logs that you are visiting, the employer can actually see a list of, on a particular computer, the employer can see a list of all the activities, all the keys that have been typed, all the websites that have been visited, every download that has been done, all of that is available and not very expensive. You don't need too many hardware setups. You don't need expensive software also. They are present online and very easily accessible. My only suggestion would be to do a little bit of research before applying any of such software. Maybe get it through some decent vendor so that there is no data security risk is what I can mention. But if you want later on, maybe I can find out some of such software and share it to all of you via Ravi Shankar sir or through a common platform. I can also do that from my end, but it's very easily available. You can search and it's not even expensive.
Or
The next question is very interesting. Do you see this crisis changing the way all teams and organizations operate going forward, given the fact that this COVID is a temporary setback? Why should one spend so much now for a temporary setback?
Yeah, hopefully it is a temporary setback. I think in December and January, we all thought that we have won the COVID war and cases are below 10,000. But again, being very optimistic and hoping it is a temporary setback, you're right that why do we need to, break our heads so much if this is a one-time event and it has to come once in 100 years? Why do we need to do all of this? Well, you might choose not to, but if you have seen the WHO reports and the reports from so many other health organizations, they say that this might be a start of a series of pandemics. Again, I'm not trying to scare anybody, and if you just follow all these people, they are saying that there might be a COVID 2023, there might be a COVID 2032. If right now we are not breaking down or understanding how these things are happening and not solving the entire crisis of our abuse of our resources and all the way we have been proceeding, so this might actually be a longer thing than we want or than we might expect, or maybe now it improves and a couple of years later, it might unfortunately go back to the same. That is one thing, but that is more philosophical. It's a simple thing. Like when Paytm was being introduced in India, people thought, why do we need to move to Paytm? Yeah, we can simply use cash and we can simply, we were all comfortable with cash. But then Paytm slowly changed our entire mindset of how easy it is to transfer money. Of course, demonetization then completely changed the way we were exchanging money. But then that shift has happened, right? 5 years or 6 years earlier, if you would have told that, why do we need an e-platform for trading money? Then we would have had the same discussion. Why do we want to cause disruption? Cash is good. Now cash is almost out. We have plastic money. I think this is only evolution. And that if everybody is following it, then I think that becomes the way forward if we like it or not. So we have to embrace and we have to adapt ourselves.
The next question is, how does the Institute view remote article management and training? And also your views on that.
Okay, how does Institute view? Unfortunately, I am not. I'm not in a position to answer because I am not having a firm of my own, and nor have I read anything in this regard. But as I said, articles are the most crucial elements for all the firms that we are, or between you and me, whoever is in this call or whoever is going to see this, our articles are the fundamentals of our organizations, and managing them is the most crucial aspect. Allowing them to be free thinking, the leaders of tomorrow, is also very important. And that is why I think it's now a little more on the principals, on the partners, to ensure that their articles are being mentored properly. But unfortunately, I don't have too much visibility on this area. Maybe some of the esteemed members on this call can share their thoughts. Let's allow them also to share their thoughts. Maybe so that's okay.
Maybe, as we said, maybe a policy maybe the Institute may come up with a policy for remote working also. Maybe if it comes, then it has to be followed. That should be the order of the day when it comes.
Moving on, the next question, what safeguard measures to be put in place by an employer to ensure clients' proprietary information is not at risk?
Yeah, I think simple tools. Firstly, your antivirus softwares have to be installed on all the laptops or all the whatever ways you are communicating. Very strictly, communication cannot be. Now, unfortunately, what happens is a lot of our organizations don't have dedicated business accounts. We are just operating on the normal Gmail accounts that we have. If we have business accounts, they are a little more secure. I think even on Gmail you can have business accounts, but surely things like Microsoft Outlook, all of those have very secure business mail transactions. So if you're sharing anything, OneDrive, as I was mentioning, those are usually encrypted, and you can share, you can upload your files of your organization in those OneDrive folders, and you can it's close to access for anybody else. Google Drive might not be the most secure way of sharing client data, because again, it's, although they say 100% security, you can password protect it, all of that can be done. But then again, it's Google and there are millions of users and it is susceptible. But things like OneDrive are definitely not very expensive. I think somebody also commented that a 5-user OneDrive facility is not very expensive and it is economical also. So tools like that can help in managing the client data. And as I mentioned, a very strict guideline, strict policy of how to use your IT assets, how you can communicate. You shouldn't be using your mobile phones to click photos of your client balance sheets or any data, confidential data, and then circulating via WhatsApp. Those are the smaller things that will need to be done.
One more from CSK Prabhu. Could audit evidence be different from digital audit, especially with peer reviews and quality review boards, where our audits are also being reviewed by peer reviewers? Is there any audit evidence which has to be different for a digital audit?
Again, I think I can give an example of how we are doing it currently in our organization, how the audits are being managed or how the quality compliance quality reviews are being managed. So we have our own portals, our own setups, which have customized setups, which we have created software. And in that, we are creating the set of documents, the evidences that we need. And of course, digital evidence, if an evidence is coming out of SAP, it's always going to be a little different than what my paper trail was showing. My digital logs, my digital signatures are always going to be different. But then audit has become a little more easier, because now just to check whether my process is proper, I don't need to check 30 or 40 or 50 samples, especially when infrastructure, IT infrastructure is involved. I just do the testing of my system, and that becomes my evidence for the entire system flow. And then I know that all the, at least the arithmetical calculations, the flow of process is going to be correct. So, and there is still dependency on paper trails, when we ask people to scan and upload when we are evidencing anything. But I'm sure ICI will have its own guidelines on how, and I think it must already be having some papers or guidelines I haven't referred to, but that is 100% going to happen. But again, it is for all the esteemed members who are practicing to share their thoughts on that also.
President, can I elaborate this a little further on this query?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Now, under an SAP environment or a digital environment or a technology company, these type of problems may not arise, because every evidence is being captured and kept on their SAP and other things. Therefore, it may not be, it not pose a difficult problem for an audit of an SAP environment. But you take the case of a small firm doing 10 crores, 15 crores turnover under the software like Tally and other things, where nothing is captured, only the bank accounts are being captured. All the evidences are outside the accounting software. So therefore, in those circumstances, even valuation of inventory and other things, what type of support software or support evidences, in addition to the normal evidence that we collect in a hardware or in a hard copy or something, is there anything that the institute is thinking on those things? It's a larger question to all the senior members here. Is there anything which the institute is going to come out, or does Information Technology Act protect the audits by in evidence, which could help the audit firm for fulfilling the audit evidence and concluding certain very key important matters like how the trend of the business going, etc. For a small firm, for small businesses up to 25 crores, they use only Tally. Is there anything which, in your experience, you could share on that?
Right. So at least in my experience, as I mentioned, that we are having our own customized tools and we are trying to work around that. But from an ICI point of view, as I was mentioning, they have just given a notification on this free audit documentation tool software. I'm just having that in front of me, and it is saying bring process automation and ease of doing audit in organizing its various audit activities like client engagement, analytical procedure, compliances with accounting and auditing standards, corporate laws, documentation of various audit processes. So I'm hoping that Institute, as you mentioned, is working on that front. But again, I would request the other members who are actually in this field and practicing to maybe elaborate on their thoughts as well.
Sir, I would like to add a point to this. So when we talk about SAP and Oracle, where the processes are all there, but if you look into a control point of testing view, Tally, for the purpose of control testing, Tally is more considered to be in the form of manual books of accounts only for Tally. And so the thing is, in other cases, we can do a risk-based audit where SAP is there, where you can go for a process, all those things. But in case of a Tally, we should only go by the traditional method. But now we have to see how this traditional method of documentation, what we were doing so far. So far, in the traditional method, we were just collecting the evidences, putting up in the file. Whether the same has to be collected digitally and documented, what transformation is required is what Prabhu sir's query is. And I think only option we have in Tally is, we have to just collect the evidence digitally, keep it in a folder. That is the only option we have for a Tally kind of a solution. Because as long as it is as and about the control reliance and all, in certain cases where Tally is there, it is literally like we buying a car which says there is an airbag. We will not go test it. We have a reliance. Okay, it is there. That is the reliance what we are placing and doing. And in many of the mid-sized firms, the problem is one of the things which we need to check is there a preparer and reviewer? And almost in all the mid-sized firm clients, the wife will be the preparer, the husband will be the reviewer. So no other go. We have to rely on certain things. And Tally, I think the new Prime Tally which has come in has these features of the process and all those imbibed in it. So since Prime came only in the later part of this year, few days before the lockdown, I think it has a very wide documentation process has all been imbibed in Tally. So, but no other go. If you look into Tally, the only option is whatever we were doing as a manual process, we have to collect the evidences, keep it in our file. That is the only option which is available for Tally. This is my view.
My reply to Sarvajit, a reviewer and verifier they have to have the confidence. Now they are husband and wife. We have to move like that only. We have to understand each other and accept the way that it has been going. But Prabhu sir has made a very important observation today. How are we going to gear up in the future? That is the question. What else we can do in the present situation? Probably we may have to deliberate it and take a call. Sir, my question to Arihant, it is a very simple question. I am making the atmosphere lighter. Are you happy from working from home? Or given an option tomorrow, will you go to the office? Or Ravi, I prefer to go even now. What are your answers?
Sir, my answer is I will go to the office, sir, for sure. Because I have been an office person and not much of a home person, but I have to share one thing personal that has, been a good thing that this lockdown happened and we were getting at home. I was blessed with a baby girl 10 months ago, so I have had the opportunity to spend ample time with her. But yes, if given a choice, I will also go to the office at the earliest.
Yes, Kameshwar.
Yeah. Mahesh, any other questions?
Yeah, moving on, there is one more interesting question. While moving to a cloud environment, is it safe to go with a large, reputed foreign corporate or stick to a local provider? Boons and banes of having data with reputed companies. Given the recent news, we hear that they are selling customer information. What could the factors which must be kept in mind while designing a service provider?
Yeah, I mean, that selling data to the customer's part is true. But then when, if, on a cloud-based server, and actually, if you see if let's talk about simple tools like Gmail, they are selling your data outright to anybody who wants, or Facebook, who anybody wants. And actually, if you see their terms and conditions, very clearly it is mentioned that your data will be used for tracking, will be used for XYZ 100 purposes, which we ignore to read, and we accept the terms and conditions. Of course, Gmail earlier was not doing it. Then the courts told it in different countries that you have to mention what are you using that for. They are now mentioning that your data will be used for this reason. They give the reason that it is for your own betterment and for your own usage. But then when it comes to cloud services, when they say that your data is 100% secure, then at least I would like to believe that it is 100% secure and it is not sold away. Hacking and breaking into the system is a different thing. But the advantage of a global organization is that you have very limited downtimes. Even if there is something that goes wrong with the cloud, we know that my data is safe, my data is secure, and within a few seconds or within a minute or two, the services will be back up. The difficult or the challenge is it's going to be expensive for you, but then at least if you can afford it, then going for a reputed global firm, that benefit is definitely there, that you know that your data is more likely to be secure than with a local cloud provider. But again, even in India, if you see India being the IT hub, there'll be many cloud service providers, there'll be many web hosters who will allow you to host your files for 1/4 of the cost that these global organizations are doing, with the cost, with the data security that maybe some of these biggest organizations are doing. So it's all a matter of researching and finding out which service provider is the most reputed and which of them has the most good reviews. So reputed firm, easiest way out. Expensive is what it will be, but then that is what the boon and bane is.
Just want to add to it, one general scenario what we face, either in a non-metro place, it's both, as you say, in Oracle atmosphere or in a cloud atmosphere. As you say, the audit evidence working from makes it a little bit more easier, because on both sides, the technology savvy of people are there, either on the auditor side, on the chart accountant side, or on the client side. We are talking about a scenario of a mid-sized firm who are even now only coming down to buying a licensed tally on a client who have just, as you say, the turnovers are good, but not spending too much of time on accounts. They don't have a full-time accountant. These are the practical situations which a mid-sized firm, a mid-sized concern faces in a non-metro cities. In those prevailing situations, work from home becomes more complex for the statutory auditors to complete it, making the clients understand. In this scenario, as you said about the auditing tools and other things, the statutory auditor also should be, the auditors also should be technically savvy to overcome all those things. That is the major scenario what we are facing, not on the bigger ones. Okay, as you said, the auditing tools and clients, the age wage factor, the technology adoption, everything is there. It's talking about a chart accountant who is 50 plus, who is not able to adapt to technology. The concerns who are used to the primitive methods or the old methods of accounting, there the work from home becomes complex. What do you think will be the way out, apart from the auditing tools and softwares? What can be the best way to move forward on these type of situations, which is what everyone will face in any office?
Right, sir. So I think it's a very valid point on the adoption of technology. And just before our call, I was talking to Ravi Shankar sir, who said that he has done DSA at the age of 50 plus, I think, if I'm not wrong. So it's almost about adaptability. And see, sometimes you don't have a choice. Now you have two options. Either you learn, you adapt, or then you employ people who know and you manage them. But in a mid-sized firm, it might not always be possible to employ, say, extra 3 people just because they are software savvy, tech savvy, and they can help you and they can manage your work. But I think it has to be a division that, as a chartered accountant, and I can totally understand that for 50 plus or 60 plus following the traditional methods, to suddenly overnight to adapt new technology might be a very big challenge. But it has to be embraced, and there are many simple courses also, so of smaller, finer things that you can learn online and you can try to adopt. And of course, you always have your own articles who are now smarter than ever, who can be trained and who can be used for managing. Even I think the bigger challenge for me is on the client side, where they don't want to invest just because you want to audit me and you are expecting me to have a very good proficient technical person. I will not afford it. You please come and do whatever you want to do, but I am not going to support. That becomes a little bit of a challenge. That I can agree. But from a CA firm point of view, I think either we embrace or we employ.
Yes, Manish, you can.
Yeah. The next question is, what type of basic IT infrastructure is required to work from home for a small and mid-level CA firm, and how to develop a strategic roadmap for going virtual with reference to a small and mid-level CA firm?
Yeah, to be honest, you don't need to be spending too much money, because you don't need huge data servers. You don't need a secure network, at least the small and mid-sized CA firms. All you have to do is these small, simple basics. The strategy has to be very straightforward, and it has to be driven by how the data is being handled. As we have mentioned through the duration of this call, use those free available softwares, or maybe spend some money on buying buying spaces on OneDrive, where they will provide you cloud servers. Everybody, you will have 5 accounts where 5 people can access that, and you need not even set up your own modem or your own server. For mid-sized firms, maybe they need a small server, they need a web page, they need their own virtual private network. It is available, as I was mentioning, for I think as low as 1,500 or 2,000 rupees per annum per license. They will come, they will set up your VPN, they will set up your server, they will tell you how to operate it, they will train you also. Only 1,500 or something of that sort per annum per license. That is all that needs to be incurred. So a small firm does not really need to have this elaborate infrastructure of a huge server in some place. I think the cloud is the best thing that has happened to us, at least in the current scenario, and they are available very cheaply and for almost negligible.
Maybe as an audit firm, apart from audit manager, is it the right time to move forward to have a system head also in all the auditor's office? I think that should be the order of the day, having a system head also there.
At least for
because the
mid-sized
auditor,
firm,
apart from mastering the acts, I think he has to master the technology also to have the systems also in place. Should be the order of the day.
Ramesh, networking of mid-sized firms is becoming very important to augment the cost. You don't have to replicate the same thing for each firm.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think you can always look at collaborating with say 4 to 5 firms, so that you have the economies of scale when you are negotiating and create a similar infrastructure, and then move ahead. That also definitely is one way to go about it. That's a great point.
Manish, any other questions?
Yeah, that's it we have on the non-technical part, sir. Over to you, sir.
Technical queries, anything from your side, or that is also been done? Technical queries are there?
Yeah, technical queries, of course, we have lots of. We have okay. The next question on the technical side is.
Can you put the technical questions also? Do you know, or?
Actually, sir, I unfortunately had to leave at 5, and
Yes,
I think for technical questions, there was sir mentioned that there will be somebody.
We have got Mr. Siddharth over there. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's okay, I will take your excuse. I have to join another meeting. If that's okay.
Go to the president.
Thank you, Arihant, for the presence today, in spite of so many restrictions and so many meetings that you have lined up today. We are extremely happy. We'll keep in touch with a program wherein you will be able to peacefully present more than 2 hours to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity and for listening me so patiently. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arihant. Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have a small presentation by CS Siddharth. Followed by that, we can have the technical queries as well. Siddharth, you can have your paper presented and then.
Unmute.
Siddharth,
Unmute. Sorry.
So yeah, thank you, sir. Before I start, I would like to thank Ravi Shankar sir for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you. So I'll, without wasting your time, I'll just straight away go to the presentation. So yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
For want of bandwidth, I'll just stop my video. So yeah. So as Arihant had said, we are facing a huge disruption in technology, wherein we are having to change quickly and adapt to the changing scenarios. So this sort of creates more opportunities. We were looking at whether it's a challenge or an opportunity. I look at it as more opportunities are in front of us to grab. So yeah, today I'll be just quickly running through a few of those opportunities. So one is analytics. So does anybody want to tell me what analytics is? You can just type on the chat window. So what in your opinion is analytics? Yeah, converting data into information. Yes, that is one. Anything else? Digging info. Okay, that's interesting. Computational analysis of data. Okay, analysis of data facts. Yes, basically all this says that we are using a bit of statistics to analyze the data, because we have been analyzing data for I don't know from when. So right from when we started our careers, right? So that's what we do as chartered accountants and finance experts. So yes, understanding data. So basically it is more of analysis using a bit of statistics as well in sort of analyzing the data. Something like we can use a regression, a correlation coefficient. I'll come to it later. So why I'm talking about regression and correlation coefficient. And the next thing is visualization. Any thoughts on that? So before that, I would like to just give you an example. So this is a chart, right? So before going to this chart, yeah, these are 5 different products where I'm comparing 2 different years. So can you tell me which product is doing good and which product is not doing that great based on this chart? Yes, use dashboards for better understanding, converting information to more communication. Yes, my converting data into graphs. Yes. Yes. So any thoughts on this chart? How do you read this chart? So is this a good chart to compare 2 different years or 2 different variables? Do you think it's a good chart? Okay. So I'm sure it is taking at least 3 to 5 minutes for you to read this chart, right? So I'll just show you another example here. Right. So what do you think about this? So yes, it took at least 3 to fluid 2 is consistent. Yeah, not great increase or decrease in performance. Yes. So it took a bit of time for you to understand this chart, right? Compare that with the chart on the right. So fluid 1, there is definitely a good increase. Say if this is sales, fluid 1 is doing well, whereas fluid 2, 4, and 5 are not doing that great. Whereas fluid 3 is not has gone down basically. Lesser sales in 2019 as compared to 18. So this chart sort of gives you a better insight as to what we are trying to visualize, right? So this is called a slope chart. There is a huge dictionary of charts that we can make use of. So it's not necessary that we should always go to a bar chart or a column chart. We can use different kinds of charts to visualize data. So I just wanted to throw light on what visualization is with this example, so it gives us better idea of what it is. right? And then data transformation. Data transformation is nothing but converting data from one form into another, or maybe read a PDF, a sales invoice, and convert that and take it to accounting. Same way, automation also involves a bit of data transformation as well. All your robotic process automation falls in this, wherein we can make a bot do stuff that a human does. So these are the four broad areas that I'm going to touch upon today. So a few examples on analytics. So I was talking about regression and correlation coefficient. So building a predictive model is one of those. So let's say we are going to predict sales for the next year for a company or an organization, right, based on past 5 years. So we can use correlation coefficient to assess which are the factors that are impacting my sales. If say, for example, if it is an agricultural product, definitely there is going to be seasonal fluctuation, right? So if whether a monsoon can be a factor, it is going to affect. So what is the correlation coefficient of the monsoon with respect to sales? So all these factors which have a good correlation coefficient with the variable that we are predicting can be brought into our predictive model, right? So based as long as we choose the right variables, it will give me a good prediction as to what can be my forecast for the next year or next month. So this will help me to define how much I should produce, how much I should procure, and so on and so forth. And the next example, cost optimization, is somewhat similar to what we have learned, the transportation theory, which we have learned right during our when we were studying for CA, right? So this is somewhat similar. So how do we optimize cost based on certain factors? It is another thing. Say, for example, we have a distribution chain. So it goes to different places from different places. So A to B, A to C, and so on. Like say, for example, Tamil Nadu to Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu to Gujarat, Kerala to Gujarat, and so on. So this helps us to define a good model wherein I can use this distribution chain in the most cost optimum way. So that is another kind of model that we can define, right? Coming to visualization, I think somebody had said interactive dashboards. Yes. So what the chart that I showed, imagine if we can use that chart to interact with some other variable, right? So I showed 5 different products in a slope chart. Imagine if we can bring the India map into that, and say if I click on Tamil Nadu, the slope chart changes and shows me how these 5 different products give me a result based on the location, that is Tamil Nadu, or say I'm clicking on Karnataka next, then it will change accordingly. So this is a very basic example of an interactive dashboard. So this is something that can be posted on a CEO's or a CFO's screen, wherein every day they just go and open the dashboard and see where they stand in terms of their business. Yes, coming to data transformation. Let's say, so there are 2 different softwares, and say integration might be very expensive. We just want one particular report to be added to the, so say we have a standalone software and an ERP system. We want data from the standalone software to flow into the ERP system. So integrating it might be difficult. We might need something like an API, etc. So it might be difficult. So we can transform the data and automate it. So it kind of runs, say, every hour or every minute, transforms it, and then uploads it into the ERP system. So that is one way to transform data, right? And automation is robotic process automation, wherein we can say download a PDF and save it in a folder, or convert a PDF into an account, an ERP readable form, wherein it automatically reads. Say, for example, we have a vendor invoice. It automatically reads the vendor invoice and accounts it. Right. So these are the kind of automation that can be done using an RPA. So I also wanted to touch upon what tools that can be used for each of this. So basically for analytics, we can definitely, Excel is always there, because why I'm bringing in Excel is it's something that all of us know how to use it. So we can definitely use, because the advanced, that is the Excel 365 that is there, it has a lot of inbuilt formula wherein we can use it for a lot of analytics and statistics as well. And for building a predictive model, there's a tool called R, there's a tool called Python as well. So these are some tools that we can use to develop a predictive model, right? And when it comes to visualization, yes, Power BI and Tableau are the top tools. I would prefer Power BI because it's definitely cost effective, as well as it gives somewhat the same results that a Tableau gives. And yes, Power Query is a new feature in Excel itself. So this helps us to sort of automate data transformation. So we can make it run every minute or every hour, and it sort of pulls in the data and converts it and throws the output, right? So and then we can build an RPA to sort of upload it into some other software. And yes, UiPath and Power Automate are the RPAs that are available now. So I prefer using Power Automate, which is kind of more user friendly and gives more results. So before going into this, if time permits, I would like to show you one RPA that I had created. So are you able to view my screen now?
Yeah, we're able to view it. You can go.
Yeah, I'll just run this bot. So what it basically does is it opens my Outlook and opens a mail and downloads a particular report. Right. So I'm just running it. So yeah, it is opening Outlook by itself. So it has to identify a particular word in the mail. So it's just trying to read. I will set it at a slower pace so that everybody can view this quite easily. So what this will do is it will read a particular mail in the this thing Outlook. It will open it. So yeah, so it is moving and it is slowly opening it. So yes, now it will try to detect the file. So yeah, so it is sort of going and saving it. So in the back end, after saving it, it will also go and move. Let's just wait for another 10 seconds because it has downloaded into the document section. So it will sort of move it to a particular folder that I want it to move it to. Right. So I think it should be done now. So I'll just go. Yeah, because it's all online. I'm sure you're not able to see that the bot is doing it. So I'm sure. So I'll just go and check this. Yeah. So yeah, it has downloaded it here. It has downloaded and it got downloaded into documents, and after downloading it has moved it to this particular folder, right? So now I'll just open this. So I've actually created a query over here. So if you see this, I'll just open the query section. So I've just called this file and created a query over here. So yeah, this is the Power Query. So I've listed down n number of steps over here. It takes a bit of time to load. So yeah, this is on the right hand side of the screen is what I've created the steps for it to assess. So it assesses, and so this is such a big file. If you see, there are so many columns here, right? There are, like, if you see at the bottom, there are 30 columns and 715 rows. So it converts it automatically and then throws me an output of say 5 to 6 columns. This is basically a stock market's data wherein the stockbroker was giving a tip and the customer is using it, and they want to know the trades that have happened within a span of 3 minutes, so that they know which customer have used their tip to do the trade. So they have a profit sharing ratio with that, and they want to know whether they are they have this share of profit with them. Right. So if you see, it has identified within 3 minutes. So 13:16 and 13:17, and then next trade happened at 9:50, and again another trade at 9:50. So another trade 15 and 2, and so on. So when a first trade happens, it checks if there is another trade or few more trades within 3 minutes from the first trade in that section. Right. So and it collates that and throws the output. And if you see, I can also create it to refresh it every minute. So if I say, so I have given it at 60 minutes. So every 1 hour, it will sort of refresh this automatically and throw me an output. So I'm just clicking on refresh myself now. So it will just refresh, and whatever is the latest data, it will convert the data into that. So this is a level of automation that can be done using, say, Power Automate, Power Query, and data transformation using Power Query, etc. Right. So, but then how do we drive this? Because see, I'm sure all of us are not experts in every field. So how do we drive this? So one is definitely upskilling. So upskilling can be two ways. One is either we learn it ourselves, or we partner or employ someone who has those skill sets and try to upskill our firm. Next is cross-selling. We already have our clients, so we sort of can cross-sell these. These are areas where many business people may not be aware of these kind of products. So we can sort of start by educating them what it will do and how it will save them some cost, right? So we can start off with upskilling and then by cross-selling. And the best part is we can do all these by working from home, right? So all we need to know is know the solution and have a sample data in hand. So we can develop this offshore, test it offshore to ensure that it is working fine. And then it is just a single day. We can ensure that it is implemented on a single day. I think Arihant also had mentioned AnyDesk, right? So we can use a tool like AnyDesk to implement it in the client's system. Right. So, yeah. So that's about it. So thank you so much. Yeah. And yeah, you can reach me at this number or mail ID if you want to know more about these things. And yeah, we can discuss. If you have any questions or anything on this, we can discuss on that.
Thank you, Siddharth, for the nice presentation on the technical aspects of it. I'll now request CA Mahesh to put some technical questions. We're running short of time, maybe about 4 or 5 questions, what is there, so that we can practical issues which Siddharth can answer.
Sure.
That I have a very basic question which everybody's, the question which everybody is asking is, what are the possible service areas of automation for a small and mid-sized CA firm when it comes to work from home?
One is, yes, as I said, this when you know that certain mails will be received from certain clients, we can automate that, and you can save it in a folder, or or you receive bills from some of your vendors, or you want to raise a bill to clients. Say, for example, you set a specific date on so and so date. I want to raise invoice to 15 or 20 clients. Then you can sort of automate it in such a way that it goes into your system, raises the invoice, and sends the mail also to the client automatically. So these are few areas which can be automated. I'm speaking of a very generic way of doing it, but there are a lot of things depending on what the requirement is. A lot of things can be done.
Just to add to what Siddharth said, there are a lot of practice management softwares which have come up recently. These are available at very cheap prices. This is the right time for CA firms to invest in those practice management. This can, automate, and this can, bring in a lot of, time saving for a CA firm. There are a lot of time recording softwares which are available in the market. Another thing is another basic necessity now in this work from home is to have a good file management and archival software. There are a lot of platforms which are available today, like OneDrive or Google Drive or Nextcloud. A lot of service providers, they are providing this. Another thing which firm has to concentrate is, go for a bookkeeping software which is hosted in the cloud. So these are some of the things which I could supplement what Siddharth spoke about.
To add to that, I can give you an example what we do in our office. So we use a tool wherein if somebody has started work on something, they can just click on start. It's just like recording a video, right? They just click on start and start working on it. We create a task and give it to them. So they go to the task and click start. So the time starts recording. And then once they are done with that task, they go and click stop. So their timesheet automatically gets posted into this thing. So we can take reports and see how people have effectively utilized their time, what are the billable hours, non-billable hours, and all that. So yeah, there are a lot of tools that can also be used for automation. Yeah.
The next question is, can you list out some tools which are available in the market for automation, task management and collaboration, process management, cloud service provider, and an overview on the cost of the investment in all these softwares?
For this, there are a lot of free tools that are being provided by ICI. They have tied up with a lot of vendors. So either you can go for a paid software as well as free tools are also available. So probably you can browse through ICI's website. I think I don't remember exactly which link, but required I can share it with you. But yeah, there were a lot of which we tried browsing initially, and then we chose one of the tools. Yes, Pragdish has posted ERPCA. Yes, ERPCA is one of the tools. This is what we are using in our office. So it's a good tool. It helps us to manage all the projects, the time sheets of each employee or article assistant, and we can also record the billable hours based on which we can sort of bill the clients. That is also doable.
To start with, as you said, every chart accountancy concern has now two requirements. One, as we said, the system requirements and the tool requirements for auditing. Another is the system and the other tool requirements for monitoring the staff work. I think these two are separate. I think these two we have to be equip ourselves on, both on one side on monitoring the staff work and second on the audit aspects. That are the two things. I think those two tools has to be separate, and that should be some value addition to it on those two aspects, on what are the tools available, on one on monitoring the staffs and one on the audit. Audit, as you said, there are a number of tools, but monitoring the staff, I think now it's the order of the day. I think everyone wants to know how they can monitor this stuff. That is a new thing now. Every office facing is monitoring the staff.
Yes, true. So what Mahesh sir was asking was regarding the office-related automation. What I was mentioning was regarding the opportunities. Both, if we are able to take it parallelly and apply both, I think it will be a good solution for working from home. Just to summarize that.
My question is the monitoring the staff. A sensitive question, but the previous speaker said there are something in the keyboard through which you can find out how much hours he has spent like that. It is very sensitive. If the staff prefers to have his own or her own laptop, if they prefer to have their own systems in their house, how is it practically possible?
That is kind of very difficult to do. That's what, as I said, we can use this tool to where they sort of start and stop their time when they are working on a particular task. And so even when you're not working from home and some team member has to go to a client's place and get some information or something, this tool also has geotagging. So they can sort of punch in when they reach a place and punch out. And even when they are working from home, if they are working within a specified time, they can punch in at their home and punch out as well. So that will record the start and end time and give the number of hours they had worked. So these are some measures that we can take. But then if we go into too much of micromanagement, I think we'll be only doing that and not doing what we really have to do as chartered accountants. So I think these are some tools that will sort of help us and give us the required information as to who is doing what and how they are delivering.
So the best thing is fix the time for the job, and if she or he has done within that time, accept the way that it has happened.
Exactly. Give them timelines. That's it. So if I want something to be, if I know that something can be completed in 3 days, maybe say give them 3 days, or if you want, give them a grace period, because anyways, in a scenario like this, they are still working. That itself is a great benefit for us. So people are working for us. So probably you can give them a grace time of half a day or 1 day and say, this is what your timeline is, and ensure that it is completed by then. And at the same time, monitor their time sheets and ensure that they are clocking at least 7 to 8 hours a day, so that they have done 32 hours of work during that period.
We should not be even particular to that they have completed the work. Hope someone also does it. As long as the work is completed, we should be moving forward in this pandemic situation. That is how
True. Yeah, as long as people are working, we should be happy about it. That's how things are.
The Canadians, we are getting the mail by night 11:30 from the apprentice after completing the work. We should be only happy the way that she has completed.
True.
They have completed the work. They have completed the work in 2 hours. Mail server did not work. That is why you have received it. You should assume that.
At least duty bound to reply at 11:30 in the night.
No, as when I was working with Wipro, my team lead used to send mails by 2:33 a.m. And when I used to ask, why are you doing this? No, I want my manager to know how hardworking I am. So there are people like that. So we'll have to sort of discount that.
Google also has a scheduled mail option, so you can schedule a mail to say be sent at 11:30 so that you work till 11:30.
Yeah, you can automate that also.
The next question which I would like to put across this forum is during work from home, how to comply with audit processes, particularly early stages of audit, like audit planning, vouching. So I just want the forum to, anybody on the forum can
that's a very good question, actually.
A small request, Magesh, we can put the question to the forum also.
Yeah, please, anybody in the forum can please respond to this.
A lot of learned people are there who have got huge exposure on the technology. Any chartered accountant can.
Please unmute yourself and please.
Nobody.
Oh, okay.
So to answer to that, sorry, Sarojit wants to go. So I go ahead.
Okay. So since the question was how to do this audit process and documentation during the, work from home. The thing is, everybody has an initial set of data. Siddharth was mentioning about 3 beautiful things. He was talking about visualization, analytics, and also data transformation. Visualization and analysis, we all have data. Today we get the Tally backup, and with Tally backup we are able to export into Excel, and Excel is one of the best tool. And more of audit process documentation involves more of working with MS Word and MS Excel, and just making a summary of all the documents and evidences which we get from the client. So for a planning stage in an audit, I think Excel, the data which we collect initially using analytics, using visualization, we can prepare the process-wise documents, and we can just do, for example, what is the import, what is the import, which is when, what is the export sale, what is the local sale. You can make an analytics, and then you can start looking into in-depth, going deep, doing a deep dive with visualization. Getting a grip of it, take a backlog. Otherwise, if they have an automatic or a system log, take it how many purchases, orders are. So like that way, we can get into process, take the initial understanding. Planning is more about how we are going to do this audit, and what is the compared to the previous year, what is the current year scenarios, ratio analysis, and all those things. Those are just the standard formats in Words and Excel which we have to prepare, and once we are ready, we can do the other process. But the problem with mid-sized firm is we only receive the books on 25th of September, and we have to complete the audit within 2-3 days. In cases where we don't get those books are available very earlier, we can get the data and start analyzing and all those things, prepare the planning document. Planning is more about what is the process we are going to do, what is the audit program which we are going to follow. And this audit program, though we say that, this is how we are going to do this particular audit, still it is all only for the purpose of documentation. We know how we are going to close it at the end. But this is more from a peer review concept of view, and for the purpose of firm, we have a process. So that the planning activities can be done through the during the work from home phase using the methods called analytics, visualization, data transformation, and all those things. And Siddharth was also mentioning about something called RPA. RPA is very useful when it comes to audit practices. Also, we can use the audit because if an RPA is developed for us, we can use it for like the balance confirmations. We can have an RPA process, like setting reminders for sending mails for giving balance confirmation, making a log, and all those things. And another one, what you were mentioning is about data transformation, which is again we can use it for our audit, like reading documents, rental agreement or any leaked document. Only thing is we just have to specify the spaces, what data we want. Automatically, it does the operation and it gives you a consolidated report, which can be used as a documentation. So in areas wherever we feel like we can use the automation processes, all that is we do in the planning stages. And if we could get the required resources also at a concessional rate and together, I think audit documentation will be very good when compared to the other, when compared to the Big Four, we'll at least come to one level of documentation. Because being in Big Four, only difference I see in is the documentation part. All the evidences which we collect is the same evidence which they collect. But the only thing is, it is more of an organized form. This organization is what we need to do it. So that how we are going to organize can be planned during this. This is my view.
Kamesh?
Yes. Any other query, or I think time is okay. I think we had a very good session on work from home, both on the technical aspects and on the non-technical aspect. I think C.A. Arihant also had a very good presentation. C.A. Siddharth also had a very good presentation non-technical. And thanks to C.A. Mahesh for consolidating all the clarifications. I think before I hand over to the proceedings of the President and the Secretary, I think one more point which I want to stress is, apart from the tools, what we are talking about, the software and other aspects, as we said, we have to be more technical savvy to do all those things. More important is this, we have to train the article assistants to do it. So we are at least 70-80% dependent on them to complete the work. So they have to be proactive in using the technology, and they have to be very much equipped. Either it is a CPT qualified student with qualified from higher secondary with the CPT, or qualifying from BCom. How far is their exposure to these type of technological aspects is going to be the order of the day. And it is more on the maybe, as you said, the young generation, they have to be more equipped, and we also have to adapt. It should be both ways thing to move forward on the work from home. That is my concluding remarks on this seminar. And I now hand over the proceedings to the President.
Thank you, Kamesh. I'm extremely thankful to the speaker who was made to leave because of his urgent commitments in his organization. This is the first time that we restricted the speaker to talk only for 30 minutes. And we preferred interaction by all the members. This is at the request of few of the members, that when a speaker talks for 1 hour 45 minutes and last 10 minutes are left, they are unable to put their questions and get the answers. With this in mind, we have started right earnestly a design wherein all the members will try to interact with them. We created a model by which Kamesh, Mahesh Prabhu and Siddharth coordinated among them for the past 3 days, and also with the speaker. And I really appreciate their sincere efforts in putting so many questions and also effectively conducting the session. I thank Kamesh for accepting to be the program chairman and the moderator. I thank, this is not my thanksgiving. The secretary of the SIRC branch, Nagakumar, will give the vote of thanks. Nagakumar, please.
Thank you, sir. Is it audible, sir?
Yes.
It's audible.
It's my pleasure and honor to present my vote of thanks, sir. I, on behalf of Coimbatore branch of SCRCF, ICA and TASC, I thank the speaker of the day, CA Aryan Bait sir, for delivering his address in such a lovable manner, sir. The way of delivering was excellent. I think that this is an apt stage to have discussion regarding whether it is a challenge or opportunity for work from home. As most of the service providers have been forced for doing work from home presently in this pandemic situation, as this is to be taken as a challenge or opportunity has been explained clearly by the speakers. Aryan sir clearly explained what are the challenges due to work from home, like lack of supervision, isolation, and such other aspects. Also clarify the opportunities being posed in front of us, like cost and time savings and such others. Sir patiently elaborated everything. Siddharth, you explained in a tremendous manner about the technical aspects. Your opportunities using technology in a broad manner, like data transformation, automation, etc., which is going to change in the next generation. But also said about the tools which have been available. So it has been clearly explained by both the speakers. I thank both the speakers wholeheartedly, Mr. Sri Aryan and also Siddharth, for accepting our invitation and giving such a wonderful address. Thank you very much to the speakers. I also thank all the participants of this webinar and request to make use of the webinar in the coming days also. I thank the webinar admin as well as the TASI staffs for coordinating. I wish to inform that there will be various seminars in the forthcoming days and with respect to various topics as clearly explained by our TASI chairman Ravi Shankar ji. I kindly request again and again the members to participate and enrich their knowledge by attending the seminars in very large numbers. Here I wish to thank the program chairman, coordinating moderator of the program, my good friend Kamesh sir, for identifying various good speakers like this. Such a nice program, which is in need of this award. Thank you, Kamesh sir. It's a great thing. I also thank Mahesh Prabhu sir and Siddharth sir for coordinating for both the technical and non-technical sessions slide of the topic, that is work from home. We also thank, here I wish to say one information that there will be another seminar on Monday regarding the Code of Ethics by SARC of Time to Branch by 4 to 6 p.m. We also thank CA Ravi Shankar, TASI President, and CA Venkatesh, Secretary of TASI, for giving this wonderful opportunity for me. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.